Welcome back to the show, an exclusive look at Third Eye Spies.
If you had an ability to be able to remotely perceive stuff any place in the world, that could be an extraordinary intelligence source.
We found that many individuals are able to accurately describe what's going on in distant locations.
Are you saying that the work you've been doing is classified?
It was a research facility. That was all that we were going to tell them.
The Russians have been spending millions of dollars investigating so-called ESP.
Psychic spies.
Almost a psychic arms race here. Is there any real application to this?
I think remote viewing has been demonstrated over the 20 years of work that's been sponsored by the government.
Producing crucial and vital intelligence to the NSA, CIA, DEA, and the Secret Service.
I began to feel frightened.
The KGB did admit.
What's really going on here? State-sponsored assassination attempt.
The CIA was lying.
They wanted to kill the program.
A storm brewing.
This is real.
I say no more secrets.
Let this information out.
Did the DIA have a circumstance behind Pat Price's death?
Pat Price died in 1975, and some people believe it was because of his work with remote viewing.
CIA hired Price away from us, and 4 months after joining the CIA, Price was dead.
And the big question is, was he killed or was it a natural death?
Like in the movies, you want to know, did he jump or was he pushed?
What do you think?
The emergency department people said that there was an individual that came in with him with a briefcase that showed the attending physician in the emergency room his recent EKGs from Greenbrier, which was the facility that I knew that we'd taken him to get his cardiological workup some months ago, and basically said, look, here's the guy had rampant serious coronary artery disease. He had a heart attack, so even though he died unattended in a hotel room, they decided, they meaning the hospital and the police, to not make it a medical examiner case. So they didn't do an autopsy, although that's not correct. And the man disappeared with the briefcase, with the notes. They never took any records of it. Body was removed and cremated. And then they called his wife.
I know a little more about this story.
That's exactly why I wanted to talk to you.
People who are so valuable are never taken out. They tempt them with amazing circumstantial or monies, dwellings, houses, to work for them. They will never. This is like killing the goose that lays golden eggs.
I saw Pat shortly before he was killed. He was coming to see us.
Yes.
But before he left, he called several of his friends to say goodbye in an odd way.
So in short, he predicted his own death.
And he purchased a $1 million term life insurance to give to his wife Ann at the airport.
You see, I didn't know that. Interesting.
And he's changed his trip to visit his son in Salt Lake.
Maybe he had a psychic feeling that he was about to die. He must have been one of the greatest psychics in the world.
Yes.
Some Army remote viewers tasked themselves on Price's death years later and decided he was still alive and at work. Of course, this was just speculation.
It was entirely unmarked. He deserves better than that.
Who is Russell Targ, and what is his involvement with the secret remote viewing project?
It's natural for a visually handicapped person like me to be interested in optics, magic, and extrasensory perception. I'm a legally blind motorcycle riding physicist. In 1934, I was born in Chicago. I was a child magician. I used to perform magic tricks at birthday parties and art openings. As a magician, I understand how people can be tricked. That's always made me a better researcher, especially in a field like ESP. I left graduate school at Columbia in 1956, and in 1958, I began working on the earliest development of the laser. I was looking for a way to get into some kind of psychical research and still support my family. I heard that there was going to be a lecture at Stanford University, and there was a young physicist, Hal Puthoff, giving a lecture on psychic discoveries behind the Iron Curtain, American and Russian ESP. And I then went back and talked to my new friend Hal Puthoff and said, I think I got some dough. Let's talk to your management about creating a program. And he said, that would be very nice. You just have to promise that you'll keep a low profile. So that was in June of 1972. And this led to the beginning of our program at SRI to investigate psychic abilities. I look forward to coming to work. Every day had a new miracle. I feel like the child magician finally got a job doing magic.
Ingo Swann and his involvement with the remote viewing project revealed in the new documentary.
Ingo is really the father of remote viewing in the modern era. Before Ingo, people were describing the picture in the envelope. He said, if I want to see what's in the envelope, I'll open the envelope. I can focus my attention anywhere on the planet, give me something interesting to look at.
And he threatened to quit. And so we asked him, well, you know, what do you mean? What would you like to do? And he says, just send somebody out in the San Francisco Bay Area and I'll describe where they are.
The first series of experiments here at Stanford Research Institute were what the scientists called remote viewing. For example, here is a reenactment of one of the first experiments last year. The subject was a New York artist named Ingo Swann. He was in the room. The experimenters, Drs. Harold Puthoff and Russell Targ, were driving away in a car. Their destination was in a sealed envelope. This day it was Palo Alto City Hall. The subject did not know. But back in the room, the subject began sketching and describing where he imagined they might be. Here was the tape recording that he made then.
There must be buildings around, and this would be sort of an area enclosed of some sort, a quadrangle or a quad. And then I sort of felt that there might be a fountain around, but I didn't hear any water in it.
There is a fountain. That day, it was turned off. Back in the room, the subject sketched a pattern he thought was crosswalks coming together in a circle. In fact, the courtyard is paved in this pattern. The courtyard where they were is 2 miles from the room where the subject was. There had been no communication between them.
Swann claimed that he could move the needle of an unswayable magnetometer, buried under 30 feet of concrete, with a classified design used to sniff out nuclear explosions.
It even had superconducting shielding. Its claim to fame was that nothing from the outside could affect it.
Not only could Ingo perfectly sketch the design, but the needle moved, and nearly got them kicked out of Stanford for breaking the experiment. And that got the attention of the CIA.
Get ready for an exclusive interview coming up shortly right here at Third Phase of Moon with Russell Targ, EYE SPIES. Stay tuned for more updates.
If you had an ability to be able to remotely perceive stuff any place in the world, that could be an extraordinary intelligence source.
We found that many individuals are able to accurately describe what's going on in distant locations.
Are you saying that the work you've been doing is classified?
It was a research facility. That was all that we were going to tell them.
The Russians have been spending millions of dollars investigating so-called ESP.
Psychic spies. Almost a psychic arms race here. Is there any real application to this?
I think remote viewing has been demonstrated over the 20 years of work that's been sponsored by the government.
producing crucial and vital intelligence to the NSA, CIA, DEA, and the Secret Service.
I began to feel frightened.
The KGB did it, man.
What's really going on here? State-sponsored assassination attempt.
The CIA was lying.
They wanted to kill the program.
A storm brewing.
This is real.
I say no more secrets.
Let this information out.